If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will even distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many, many more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So don't forget to download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hey, what's up? I am Tony Making Food Matta, and this is Tony Talk, a modified view in the culinary industry. As always, I am simulcasting on my YouTube and my podcast. My podcast is now featured on iHeartRadio. If you have iHeartRadio, you can simply type in Tony Talk, a modified view into the culinary industry. You can check out my YouTube channel. Just Google search Mattafied cooking, modified cooking. You'll see me with my chef hat on. You can also check out the podcast on Google Podcast, Anchor, iHeartRadio as mentioned, Spreaker. It's on a bunch of different apps. So today we're going to talk a little bit about a thing that I call hack chefs. Hack fucking chefs. So, what is a hack chef? There's all sorts of chefs out there. There's good chefs, there's bad chefs, there's clipboard chefs, there's go-getter chefs, there's corporate chefs, there's restaurant chefs, there's chain restaurant chefs, there's corporate executive chefs, design chefs who just design menus. There's all sorts of chefs. But today, we're going to talk about hack chefs. Fucking hack chefs. I personally hate hack chefs. Hack chefs are just, as stated, fucking hacks. So, what is a hack chef? So there's lots of different types of hack chefs, but one type of hack chef is a chef that doesn't really lead by example. A hack chef is someone who doesn't really wear their uniform. You're the chef. You're supposed to lead by example, teach, train, develop, lead by example. And if you're the chef of your building, restaurant, whatever, and you come in and you're not wearing non-slip shoes and you're wearing some new fucking Jordans, who the fuck are you? Seriously, why aren't you wearing your fucking non-slip shoes? I don't get it. You're the chef, lead by example. Lots of typical chef outfits. You have to wear a white chef jacket. So why the fuck are you wearing a Nike shirt or something that has writing under it? Like, that ain't cool. Like, that isn't how you're supposed to roll. Being the chef, you have to lead, so like you can't even wear the proper fucking uniform. I don't really know about that. What is that? You're gonna cut corners. You might not know. You might have just faked it until you maked it, until you got all the way up to where you're at. One of the things about being a chef is that, like, you need to know pretty much everything that details your operation. So if you don't know how to put a simple schedule together, but somehow you're the chef, I don't know about that. If you don't know how to order through Cisco online or Gordon's or US Foods or whatever it is, and you're the chef, like, how the fuck did you get that position? Like, I don't understand it. Did you just, like I said, you faked it until you maked it? I mean, I don't really get it. Another form of hack chefery is, you being the chef, just being sloppy. You're just like, you don't wear your apron. You get food and shit all over yourself. You have to present yourself well. If you're the chef and you're not presenting yourself well, or you constantly cut yourself, or you burn yourself, or you just have pasta sauce all over you, like, I don't understand it. Now, I've worked with lots of chefs and lots of culinarians and lots of hack cooks and hack chefs, and like, I just don't get it. It kind of like makes me upset at our industry, and maybe a restaurant or a group is just in desperate need to promote from within, or they just need somebody, or their resume looks really good, but it's just you just suck. Like, you can't do a simple timeline on your day. You don't know how to write a prep list. Like, I don't understand it. So thinking about some of these chefs that I've seen over the years, a couple people come to my mind, and I don't really necessarily think that, like, it might not be like, maybe they take it back. So maybe it's just not like hack chef. Maybe they just don't know what to do, because I've worked with lots of chefs that were very good with working on the line, but didn't understand the paperwork, or chefs that had the paperwork, they could do an order, they can do your inventory, they can bang out stuff, but then when it comes to working on the line, they can't hang. They can't handle that pressure. So then that goes back down to, you have your team, right? So if you have your team and they see that you're a grinder on the line, but yet you constantly don't order this, you don't order that, you can't write a schedule, you forget the days off that people requested off, like, that's kind of lets your team down. And then it goes the other way. Like, yeah, you might be really good at doing inventory. You might be, be able to, like, get your numbers right and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, you can't even fucking grill a steak. So, like, what's the point of you being the chef if you can't do all of that? I guess. But maybe you were just thrown into it. Maybe you were just put in this situation. You got promoted too fast. You bit off more than you could chew. Like, that's kind of like, I don't want to say like a hack chef, but maybe you weren't taught, but it is kind of hackery. So other things that kind of get me with some chefs that I have worked with in the past, not owning up to messing up. Like, hey, you calculated it wrong. Let's say that you had this Thanksgiving dinner. And it was a buffet of whatever, 5,000 people, and you figured that, it's Thanksgiving and they're only going to eat 2.5 ounces of fucking turkey, and you did your math wrong. And it's like, they're not going to eat 2.5 ounces of turkey. Like, you have to, I would say 6 to 8 ounces. So then you do your calculations wrong. And then you don't have enough fucking turkey for your Thanksgiving banquet of 5,000 people. And then you're scrambling around because you failed to do your proper math and to make sure that you were good. And then, when you have to explain to the host of the party that, hey, I'm sorry we ran out of turkey, based on my calculations. Well, you fucked up, man. Like, you fucked up. Like, don't understand it. Like, just do your math right, own up to it. Just be, oh, well, this is what happened, and just say, hey, you know what, I messed up. Let's figure this out, give you a discount, or, like, do something, but make the guest happy. But you fucked up their Thanksgiving. their buffet because you didn't order enough turkey. Like, that's just like an example that just came to my mind about some stuff, and there's like not owning up, and like not owning up to your fault. Let's say like you forgot to do the schedule right? You forgot to do the schedule right. You forgot that somebody wanted the day off, and it was their wedding or bar mitzvah or birthday or whatever, and they really needed that day off. So you need to own up. You need to own up to it and make it work, because you have to make your team happy for that. So then you have to either work the station, have a sous chef work the station, or have a supervisor or another line cook, or you have to get through it because you messed up, and like, hey, that's what it is. You can't just be like, oh, well, I'm the fucking chef. Like, yeah, whatever. Walk around with your white coat on, your clipboard, and your chef hat, like whatever. Fuck that. You got to get in there. You got to help the team out, and you got to get in to that situation and make sure that service goes right. Because at the end of the day, you are the chef, and you are supposed to make sure that service goes right. Okay. Another form of hack cooking or chefing is, as mentioned earlier, as simple as following the rules. Following the rules. Like, you have to follow the rules. You can't just fucking wing the shit, You have to make sure that, you do your orders on time. If the cutoff time is at 4 o'clock for Cisco, well, then you know that you got to get in by 4 o'clock. And if you miss that deadline, then you either own up to it, or you go to fucking Gordon's and you buy the stuff yourself and then write it off or get paid for it and stuff. But like, you can't just be like, oh, well, I didn't know, the computer wasn't working, I couldn't do it, and I didn't know, and the system crashed. Because at the end of the day, like, you're the fucking leader, and you have to make sure that the shit fucking works. Like, it has to work. So like, those are some of the things that like kind of like piss me off about working with some chefs or even some cooks. Hack cooks are the cooks that like to try to cut corners. They won't let something reduce down all the way, or they know that they can use a slurry instead of a roux, but it's not the proper recipe, but it kind of gets through it. You kind of have to get through it. I mean, I get it sometimes in the middle of the dinner rush when you have to knock stuff out. Like, you have to make it work because you work in these ticket times. You got these immense pressure for these ticket times, these small ticket times, and you have to get it out. So sometimes you have to, but if you follow the rules and had your mise en place, you had 2 hours before dinner service, you made sure that you had all your stuff chopped up, mise en place, everything ready to go, then you shouldn't have fallen into that situation. So that's why you kind of have to follow the rules. So that goes back to another thing, where is when we have service, like, you have to make it work. Like, you can't, this isn't fucking Hell's Kitchen. This isn't shut it down, it's not gonna work. Like, you can't have that. Like, you have to get through service. You have to get through it. You can't just be like, oh, fuck it, whatever, I'm the chef, I'm gonna just go sit down in the office and whatever. That's like another thing. I am very like lead by example, and I'm very hands-on. And it's very hands-on for me to be the chef, but then sometimes you have to take a step back and, let your sous chefs and your supervisors kind of fail, I guess, to kind of learn a little bit, I guess, because then they will know what not to do next time, if that kind of makes sense. But that's like a whole nother story, a whole nother podcast about, learning how to fix these mistakes and getting through the dinner rush. But like some of these fucking chefs that call themselves chefs and they don't know how, like I said before, like you call yourself the chef and you don't know how to fucking clean a fryer. Like, dude, what is that? What is that? You can't put in a proper order for Cisco. You don't know how to troubleshoot some shit. You send home your dishwasher and you're like, well, I don't know, somebody else is going to have to do it. No, you need to get in the fucking dish pit and wash the dishes because you sent the dishwasher home. You had no fucking contingency plan. So you need to figure these things out. You need to do this. You can't just be a fucking hack. Like, I fucking cannot stand, like, chefs when they put on their chef jacket and they put on their tall hat and they just think they're God's gift and they don't want to fucking do anything and they just want to fucking walk around and not fucking get their hands dirty and things like that just kind of really piss me off. So fuck that. Fuck you, hack chef. Jeez. That's that. I don't even want to go in more and get more upset about any of that. So, once again, I am always simulcasting on my YouTube, on my podcast, Mattafied Cooking, Mattafied. Find me on iHeartRadio for podcasts. Just type in Tony Talk. You can figure that out. Google Podcasts, it's on that too. So, thank you for listening. That was just a little Tony Talk, a modified view on hack cooks, hack chefs, and just fucking hack chef life. So, thank you and have a good day.